Hey, you see this big honker of a lens right here? This is the new Sony 28 to 70 millimeter f2 gangster mode. Let's talk about it. What up, y'all? Tight shirt, Terry Warfield. Hope you're having a great day so far. Remember to be thankful for your freaking life today because you did not have to have that. Let's hop right into it with this new 28 to 70 millimeter f2 G Master. I want to address the first question, okay? I know a lot of y'all gonna be like, yo, Terry, why wouldn't Sony go after a 24 to 70 millimeter f2 instead of a 28 to 70 millimeter f2? And you know what? I agree. That's the lens I thought that we were gonna get. But let's talk about what this lens is, and then we'll talk about all of that stuff in a minute. So obviously this is Sony's first constant f2 aperture zoom lens, which is a W for Sony, but it's pretty obvious that they wanted to go after the Canon version, which is also a 28 to 70 millimeter f2 lens. So this is actually 11% smaller and 36% lighter than the Canon 28 to 70 millimeter f2. Y'all know that that lens was freaking huge, and this one is a lot smaller than that one, albeit still a big lens, okay? They also managed to keep all the same controls as like the 24 to 70 millimeter f2.8 G Master Mark II that I'm using right now. So it's got the same declickable aperture ring on here. It's got an iris lock on here. It's got the same smooth and tight switch on here that I really love about the 24 to 70. Autofocus, manual focus switch, 2 customizable buttons, plus all of the weather sealing and all of that stuff that we know G Masters are known for. Now, I'm sure some of you nerdy people want the freaking optical formula, so I'll put that on the screen. And as you'll find out, it's a very, very similar optical formula to the 24 to 70 millimeter f2.8 G Master Mark II. Now, before we get into image quality and all of that good stuff, I want to talk first on why I believe Sony went for the 28 to 70. First thing, the wider you get on a zoom lens and the faster the aperture get, physics says that the bigger the lens gets. It's just how everything happens, right? This is already a fat lens. I have a comparison I'm gonna put on the screen for you right now, comparing the 50 millimeter f1.2 G Master, the 24 to 70 millimeter f2.8 G Master, the second version. This lens, along with the Tamron 35 to 150 f2 to f2.8. Tamron is a huge lens. If we were able to get a 24 to 70 millimeter f2, it will probably be bigger than the Tamron 35 to 150, which is a huge lens. And I know some of y'all are gonna say, yo, I wouldn't mind that to have a 24 to 70 millimeter f2 lens, and I probably agree. I would still carry that lens around, but I get it, most people wouldn't want that. Also, cost goes up. The wider you get, the faster you get, the more the cost goes up. So I feel like, you know, I still want Sony to make the 24 to 70 millimeter f2, but I think right now the reason that they went after it is because they saw how well the 28 to 70 f2 sold on Canon, and they was like, oh, we can make a better version of that. Plus we need that lens in our lineup anyways. Now, with that being said, I'm sorry, here comes a semi truck, so you're probably gonna hear that. I'm not about to pixel peep images from this lens. Y'all know that all of these newer Sony G Master zoom lenses are crazy sharp, really good rendering, amazing bokeh, all of that good stuff. Very, very similar image quality to the 24 to 70 millimeter f2.8 G Master Mark II, which is a fantastic lens. Now, before we move forward, I checked my YouTube analytics the other day, and I noticed that over 90% of y'all watch my videos and you're not subscribed, and that hurts my freaking feelings. So if you like this video, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, turn on notification bell so that you get notified when new videos go up. Dang, I need some lotion. Look at my hands. Anyways, let's talk about focus breathing on the new 28 to 70 millimeter. Here's a sample at 28 millimeters. Here's a sample at 50 millimeters. And then here's a sample at 70 millimeters. And as you see, and this is breathing compensation off, okay, that the focus breathing is very well controlled on the 28 to 70. So, you know, we really don't need to talk about that. Also, autofocus, another one of them things with G Master lenses that is just really no point to talk about it. 4XD linear motors in there, which means it can keep up with the fastest cameras, including the Alpha 9 Mark III, the Alpha 1 Mark II. I had no problems at all with this lens with autofocus, so I'm not gonna spend any more time on it. With those things being said, let's talk about about the real reason why you're here. Should you go with the 24 to 70 millimeter f2.8 G Master Mark II, which I'm using right now, which is about $2,300, or should you go with this new 28 to 70 millimeter f2, which is close to $3,000? Which one of these lenses should you go with? Now let's talk about focal length first. 24 versus 28 millimeter. Okay, some of y'all are gonna say that's not that big of a difference. I'm gonna say you're a freaking liar, because 4 millimeters difference on the wide end of a lens is super dramatic compared to adding like another 10 or 20 millimeter on the longer end of a lens. So it's a big deal, man, especially when we consider a lot of us are using our cameras to make content of ourselves, vlogging and stuff like that. That means that a lot of times we have to turn on active stabilization on Sony cameras, and I already feel like 24 millimeters sometimes is not wide enough for the type of content I make. So you need to think to yourself, would 28 millimeters be wide enough for me? The next thing is f2 versus f2.8. That is a whole stop of light, y'all. That is the difference between going from ISO 400 to 800 or 800 to 1600. So on and so forth. It is putting 2 times the light sensitivity on the sensor in your camera. I've had a few situations where using the f2.8 lens, I was like, you know what, I wish I had more light. So if you find yourself in situations where 2.8 is not enough, then maybe this is a lens that you should consider. Yo, this is Editor Terry. One thing I forgot to mention is the difference in autofocus blur when it comes to the f2 28 to 70 millimeter and the f2.8 24 to 70 millimeter Gangsta Mode Mark II. I'm getting so tongue tied, but at 28 millimeter, as you see, f2 versus f2.8 is not a huge difference. You can't really tell the difference in background blur. However, as you move up through the focal range, here's a sample of both lenses at 50 millimeters, f2 and f2.8 respectively. You do see that the f2 becomes a little more creamy. Whoa. Now, when we move up to 70 millimeters, f2 versus f2.8, you can spot a difference. Can an untrained eye see the difference? Probably not, but for our trained eyes, there is a difference in background blur. The f2 lens is definitely more creamy. Now, I don't know if this makes a difference to you or not, but if you're going for like that prime replacement, you know, I think the 28 to 70 millimeter is probably the better option. It's not that the 24 to 70 can't rival primes, because it can't. But usually we get primes to get those faster apertures. Again, the 28 to 70 with f2 all the way through, I mean, it's definitely something that has to be considered. The next big consideration that you need to think about is size. Am I willing to carry around a lens this big versus like the 24 to 70, which is a tiny lens? That's something else that you need to think about. And then lastly, you need to think about cost. The 24 to 70 millimeter f2.8 Gangsta Mode Mark II is only $2,300 or $2,400. This is pushing $3,000. So there's quite a difference. This f2 constant aperture, this extra stop of light, is going to cost you several $100s more, and you're going to lose out on 4 millimeters on the wide end. So for me personally, I'm still going to stick with the 24 to 70. However, I'm very curious to know what y'all think. Would you prefer the 24 to 70 at f2.8, or would you prefer the 28 to 70 at f2? With those things being said, I think this is still a fantastic addition to Sony's ever-growing list of lenses. They already got a freaking million. Why not make it 1,000,001? Seriously, I really want to know what side of the fence you on. Are you on the 24 to 70 f2.8 fence, or are you on the 28 to 70 f2 fence? Let me know down there in the comment section. You'll be able to get one of these bad boys mid-December. So if you want one, make sure you tell whoever's getting your Christmas gifts for you, throw it in the bag, okay? Anyways, I hope you all enjoyed this video. Again, if you liked it, make sure you hit subscribe, turn on the notification bell so that you get notified when new videos go up. And I got 2 videos at the end of this video in the end card that I really want you to check out. Until next time, I'm out of here. Tight shirt, Terry Warfield. Peace and chicken grease. I'm out, y'all. Much love. Peace.